What's up, guys, and welcome back to House Flipper 2. If you're enjoying this series, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe. If you haven't already, it would be greatly appreciated. In the last episode, we finished up our full flip on the timber house, which we approached a little bit differently. And I can't help but feel like it was missing some of that Toogii charm. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't have a lick of this iconic white subway tile in it. So today, we're going to attempt a full flip in just one episode. And the house that I've got my eye on is this one right here, a former houseboat. It says, one-of-a-kind occasion. This tiny house on a beach is perfect for everyone who wants to have a taste of living on the sea without the constant rocking. If this houseboat's a rockin', then don't come knocking, am I right? Renovation needed, or at least some heavy cleaning. For 89,000 schmackaroonies, we're gonna scoop this sucker up. Really sorry for the houseboat rockin' joke. This is a family show. Or it's supposed to be, anyways. But let's get out our cell tool, and we'll start making our rounds, getting everything cleaned up. I suppose we could probably leave the weeds until the very end. How do we even get inside? Oh, and there's a bunch of flies around those. I'm definitely gonna get rid of that. Pretty sure I just deleted a door. Actually, totally fine. Glass is completely broken on that. So it's really not that big of a deal. That's another door, I think. God, there's so much junk around here, dude. I can't even hardly walk around. Okay, so they boarded this sucker up. I wonder why. Maybe a gnarly storm was coming through, or came through. The previous owners dipped out, and then the state or whomever came through and boarded it all up just so people couldn't come in here and start squatting. Though I'm not really sure that anyone would want to. Dude, we've got springs coming out of the mattress. That's a big yikes. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and sell pretty much everything inside of here. Like I said, we're trying to approach this how we used to always approach a full flip, and that's with our Toogii flair, or whatever you want to call just adding white subway tile to every single kitchen and bathroom. Ooh, that's nice. Got a big old skylight in here. This must have been the old dining room location. I feel like since this house is so small, we are probably going to have to sort of leave things the way that they were. You know, this is still going to remain the living room. We'll still have a little dining area right here. This is probably bath. It's actually not a bad-sized bathroom, though. I'm going to definitely ditch the tub. Showers are just better, in my opinion. The entire kitchen's gonna have to get redone as well. We could maybe come up with a better configuration for all the cabinetry and whatnot. And you know what? I don't hate the storage up top. I think that actually looks really nice, but I also don't hate the striped wallpaper. The blue and white is giving nautical, for sure. Definitely fits the theme of this home. It is a former houseboat, after all. So like the whole thing's sort of up on a barge. I mean, they've even got all the old tires and whatnot that they'd have, you know, strung up on the sides as little bumpers, just so they don't damage a dock or somebody else's houseboat if they wanted to park up with one another. So I'm gonna keep making my rounds here. We'll get rid of all this weird driftwood looking stuff. That is going to have to get cleaned up with a trash bag, so we'll do that here momentarily. But yeah, we'll just go through, clean up all the junk as we usually do. And then once we have a bit more of a blank slate... Ooh, that's kind of cool. If that's in decent enough condition... Oh, it's actually kind of ratty looking. I was going to say we could recycle that, or like reuse it inside the property. You know what? Before I get too carried away... Let's head up top. There is an exterior staircase. So let's see what we've got cooking up here. Just had to remove a little bit of plywood. There's... what? How did I not notice that when we were in the bedroom? So not only does the dining room area have a big old skylight, but the bedroom even has a little bit smaller one, but it is still there. I'm not even really sure what we could do up here. I might leave the planters. But we could do a patio of sorts. They had an old grill up here. Maybe we'll do another like barbecue area. Got to get rid of those for sure. And some more blown out glass, some more windows. All right. I'm gonna be quiet, and I'll finish getting rid of all this garbage. I probably don't need to say this because I'm sure none of you even noticed, but the entire time that I was yapping just then, I had like a loose eyelash tickling my eyelid, and it was very distracting. But we've just about got all the trash in this house completely cleaned up, and we're gonna switch over to our clean and scrubbing brush and get after it. Now that we've got this place all cleaned up and free of any debris, I'd like to focus on the exterior first, but before we do that, we're gonna head up here to this rooftop terrace. I've already laid out a nice cot for us. We need to head to bed. We're running out of daylight to work with. Honestly though, this will probably be the best sleep that I'll ever get. And there we go, a new dawn and a new day. So the siding actually isn't in that bad of shape. But you can see here, they're kind of utilizing multiple different styles and shades, color shades of siding. So I see what they were trying to do here. You know, they're trying to make it seem as though it really was a retired houseboat that somebody just beached here and started living in. So all I'm gonna do is take out our copy tool. We're gonna copy what's already here and just make sure that it's the nicest, newest version of itself. All right, here's what we've got now. So I kept it largely the same as it was, just simply changed the color palette up a little bit. For comparison's sake, you can see this is sort of what it used to look like on the back side of the property. I think it still looks like a houseboat, which is kind of the whole idea here. I couldn't help but notice that this is all rusty too, so I'm half tempted to maybe change that to just a shinier, darker, less rusty metal. I think it would really do a lot. So I've still got to do all the rest of the walls, but I wanted to make sure we had a good sort of template in place. That way I can copy the style and transfer it around to all the rest of the walls.
Many minutes later.
Hopefully I made that sound a whole lot easier than it actually was. I mean, we had to go through 6 different types of siding just to make it look as good as it does. And I do think it looks really nice. So moving on from the siding, I think what I want to tackle next are these like support pillar column deals, and then also these things that come out from underneath the upstairs terrace thingamabob. I'll probably change all of this to that same sort of black metal. Oh, also all of this has been replaced. No more rusty metal. Maybe now the next homeowners won't need a tetanus shot just to purchase this place. I'm noticing the lights also kind of a rusty sort of metal, so we're just gonna change those out. I do like these lights too, you know, they totally fit that nautical theme that we're going for. It would be kind of weird to do a not nautical theme for a literal houseboat on the beach, don't you think? Dang it, dude. Turns out we're not able to use that same black metal on these support columns, so we're just gonna try for a nice glossy plastic, I guess, and we'll see how that looks after it all comes together. We could also just swap that out for a driftwood. I want to make the underside and the top side of this terrace thing, I still don't really know what to call this, but I want to make this a better looking driftwood. I think this might already be driftwood, but the color's just a little bit off, in my opinion. We'll change the stairs as well, and probably down here too. Maybe we should do the flooring a weathered driftwood, which this might already be, I don't know. And then we'll do like the sides and the underside, sort of the lighter style of driftwood. I think that could look pretty good. But now we've got to start tackling that driftwood. That's gonna take me a little while. There's quite a bit of it here. That took me so long that we're actually running out of daylight again. But it's not a big deal. We've got our cot up top. We can go head to bed here in just a sec. But down here, we've got that nice weathered driftwood. On the underside, it's the same driftwood. It's just sort of a lighter shade of it. We've got the weathered stuff up the steps, leading all the way up to this rooftop terrace area. Dude, it's all starting to come together. Oh, except I missed that somehow. We'll fix that in the morning. For now, time to head to bed. We are almost finished working on the exterior of this property, and man, it is looking so dang good. Then we'll start to work on the inside. But our next order of business is we're gonna go around and see if we couldn't maybe salvage some of these windows. Honestly, I kind of prefer it without the muntin bars, so we're gonna skip that. But what if we just change this? Of course, there's no black metal option. I mean, we could do black wood, or maybe white trim wouldn't look too bad on it. Let's just take a quick step back so we can sort of compare our two options here. So this is obviously all white trim. This, unfortunately, we don't have the black metal that we've used elsewhere, so this is just all black wood. I kind of feel like this is too dark now, especially because we have gone through and changed all of these supports and everything to a much darker color. I'm leaning more towards this. I think that's what we'll do for now. Maybe once we get it all done, we won't even like that and we'll end up going back to the darker look here, but that's what I'm gonna roll with for now. And then this front entrance, I want to try to find some like bifold doors, like just a massive bifold door here for the front entrance. I think that'd be really sick. I thought this was a door at first. That's apparently just a window, and so is this. So I'll probably actually get rid of that, and we'll replace that with a slider instead, assuming it'll fit in that space. We're making good progress, though. Making good progress. All right, it is now finally time to start working on the interior of this place. Honestly, these doors that I chose, pretty similar to what was here before. Granted, the glass was all smashed out in the old ones. I did also go around and tether the exterior lights to a single switch right here. Maybe we'll add another switch on the inside. It's just looking so dang good, dude. I know I keep saying that. I always say that, but it really does look nice. Okay, so let's actually get started in the master and only bedroom of this property. I think we need to ditch the driftwood look in here, and also probably need to ditch the fish wallpaper. It is like aquatic, sort of nautical themed, right? But I'm just not a big fan of it. I think it looks super tacky. So what I think would look better is if we did maybe some wainscoting, some like vertical shiplap looking stuff, maybe at the base of the walls, and we'll just do drywall for all the rest of it. And just like that, ladies and gents, the deed is done. I think we nailed it. It's still aquatic, nautical. It's giving houseboat for sure. I was gonna do the walls white as well. This is actually sort of an off-white, almost a really light beige color. I felt like all white would have been a bit too much, a little too bright almost. But I have decided to keep the hardwood floor in here. So let's go ahead and copy that. That way we can find the same stuff in the store. And then there's only a couple of spots where the floor looks like it was maybe ruined a little bit at one point in time. Maybe some water got in here. Maybe the previous homeowners like tried to replace a couple of boards or something. Who the heck knows? And I'm also gonna fill in just underneath that master bedroom slider now. Very nice. Much better than a single door and a big sheet of glass like what was there previously. I'm also kind of toying with the idea of maybe trying to bring in some of that driftwood from the outside to the inside without, you know, completely overdoing it and having driftwood all over the walls. Just by adding in the windowsill and leaving that same driftwood texture. I think it looks pretty nice. Gives the room some good contrast and whatnot. So I think that's the only... I guess I have a flashlight, don't I? That's the only hardwood that we needed to patch up in here. So we're just going to bring this on into the kitchen, living room, dining room. Obviously the bathroom, we're not going to do hardwood. That's super weird. I've talked about that before, but all this should probably match. And now that we've got our beautiful, beautiful hardwood floors installed, we're going to start tackling the walls in here. And I do think for this room, for the living room dining portion, we'll do something a little bit different in the kitchen, of course. You already know what's coming. I don't even need to say it yet. But I do think I'm gonna tie in some of that exterior driftwood in on the interior as well. So we'll kind of keep it a bit like it is now, though instead of this off-white here for the wallpaper, I think I'm gonna go full white, like a pure white on that, and then we'll do a driftwood base. I'm not sure about what I want to do up around the top just yet. We could do more driftwood, or we could do plaster or something else, like a drywall texture. We'll see. I'm gonna toy around with it for a little while, and hopefully it ends up looking all right.
One eternity later.
So I've got some bad news. You know how on occasion I might get so into the zone, AutoZone, not a sponsor, that I end up finishing the entire house? It happened again. It happened again, dude. I haven't said anything for the past 2 hours. I've just been going at it, man. And we finished all except for one area of this property, that being the rooftop terrace. So we'll do this real quick, and then we can make our way downstairs and check out all the stuff that you guys unfortunately missed. But it's okay. It's okay. Honestly, really small house. It did take me a surprising amount of time, but I think the end result will sort of speak for itself. So, oh, okay. I guess if we place that there, we can't quite open the grill all of the way. What if we just bring it back a little bit further? Good enough. Good enough. At least you could open it to get some burger patties on there, some glizzies, you know the deal. So now that we have that, I want to see if they have any like lounger chairs. They don't. What about a sun chair? Sun bed? I guess that's pretty close. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. I'm gonna go with these, but of course, you already know we got to change out this this wood type for the driftwood. I just think that that's going to look a little bit nicer. And then we'll use that same blue that we've been using on the inside of the house. Spoiler. Sorry about it. Let's angle this one in ever so slightly. And then we'll angle this one in ever so slightly the opposite way. Now we just need like, do they have umbrellas? Let's search that up real quick. Like, they do. I'm going to go with this one, I think. A big old patio umbrella. Once again, same blue. Oh, that's the rich blue. We want faded blue too. That's the one. Actually, that we can do black iron. This is what we need to change. So we're looking for faded blue too. And then this color, I think, is just ice white. That'll do. We'll change up the pattern a little bit, something a little bit funkier. Okay, this is a lot larger than I was expecting. Can we not change the... Oh, we can. I just missed it. The color of that. I'm going to go with... Let's go with black iron again. We're kind of putting it everywhere, but it does look really good. Hopefully you guys will agree with me. Anyways, enough lollygagging. That's really all I wanted to do up here. You could do a lot more, but I already spent way too much time down here. So, we've got our front door, as we had before. I'm pretty sure this is even the same couch that was in here previously. It might have even been the same color of blue, but rather than having driftwood as far as the eye could see in here, I decided to keep that same blue and white striped wallpaper. Well, I guess technically before it was like a beige off-white, but it's now a pure white. And to kind of help break everything up, I've added a nice border around the top of that same driftwood that we used on the exterior. And then I know you can't see it all that well. Let me just move this TV real quick. Like, we sort of have like a crisscross herringbone type pattern on the bottom side of the wall, which is different than what we did in the master bedroom. If you guys remember, that's more or less a vertical shiplap. I don't want to get in there just yet, but I didn't want to do the exact same thing we did in the bedroom, so I decided to mix it up a little bit and do something that I don't think that we've ever done. I think it ended up looking fantastic. Moving on into the kitchen then, you already know I had to add that iconic white subway tile. It's kind of my thing. I don't know why, but it works really well in both bathrooms and kitchens, and I'll probably be doing this in my own home, assuming I ever finish the plaster first. I've got a bunch of holes in my plaster in the kitchen. It looks bad still. It's looked bad for a while now. One of these days, I swear. So as I started to place cabinets in here, I realized we weren't really going to have quite enough space to do a proper, like, dining room setup like what was in here previously. So instead, knowing that there's probably only going to be like 2 to 3 people living in this property, I've just added 2 little stools. We've got an overhang on the countertop here. It lines up amazingly well with this driftwood post right there, sort of separating the living room and this kitchen. I think those bars might actually be, hang on, yeah, those are definitely brown. Why are those brown? I just forgot to change that. Okay, well, we'll do that real quick, like, just make that black iron, and then we will copy the style and paste it to those other ones. There we go. Dodged a bullet. And then behind us over here, I found this while searching through the catalog, and it just felt very nautical to me. I've been saying that a lot today, but as much as I wanted this place to feel like a proper home, I also really wanted it to feel like a houseboat, right? So this to me just kind of fit that. And then of course we have our microwave right there. We've got a full size, I don't know if you would consider this full size, I guess, but a decent size refrigerator. And that's about it for this area. It's missing a lot of the finer details, you know, but like I said, I've been going at this for way too long, and I really, really wanted to finish a full flip in just one episode. So we'll skip the bathroom, move into the master bedroom. Not really that much to see in here, though we've kind of tied in that weathered driftwood look on the inside as well. We have the nightstands in that same weathered driftwood. The whole bed frame, of course, that same blue again, tying that room into this room. It just looks good, dude. It just looks really good. TV up on the wall. But yeah, definitely missing a lot of the nautical decorations. You know what? Maybe I'll just take care of that really quick. I bet it's under wheel. No? There's wheelchair. Here it is. It was right in front of me all along. It's called the He Like. All right. Yeah, I'm just going to get that put right up over here. Looks decently center. Maybe over to the right just a tad. Perfect. That's good enough for me. Tell you what. So, moving on into the bathroom. We've got that typical sort of marble flooring, marble tile flooring that we usually use. Though this time I decided to kind of outline it all in a slightly smaller version of the same tile. I'm not super sold on it just because of some of the stuff that it does, like in the corners on that piece or this piece, for example. But apart from that, I think it's all right. We've got our turlet, our shower, of course, and the same bathroom sink that we've been using like since we started playing House Flipper 2. But that's it. I didn't really need to repaint much, apart from the ceiling. The ceiling was kind of a weird texture, so I fixed that up a little bit. That's all she wrote, though, ladies and gents. I think it's time we head out front and get this thing listed for sale. Golly, dude, I am sweating bullets right now. All right, 50 buckaroonies. That's all it's gonna cost us. Where do we have the highest profit? It looks like Steven right here. We got Daisy, Steven, and Conrad. Steven obviously is giving us the best price, so that's who we're gonna sell it to. There it is. All in a day's work. Now we get to take a look at these fantastic before and afters. I'm gonna hydrate while we do that. Oh, so good. See, and it still looks like a boathouse. I didn't want to take that away from it. I didn't want to rob the structure of that, you know? That's what it started out as. I wanted to make it so it still felt boathousey. I do like the kitchen sort of like peninsula thing that we did too, rather than the table and chairs and whatnot. It's big, it's bulky, just takes up too much space. Master bedroom, only bedroom, looks quite a bit nicer as well. And I mean, the entire place has just been cleaned up. Nobody other than us would have touched this thing with a 10-foot pole or 10-foot oar, right? Because, get it? Because it's a boathouse. I'll be here all week. And now that we're back at home, that is, of course, where we're going to have to wind things down at for today. But once again, if you guys did enjoy, please leave a like, leave a comment, help support the dream by smashing that subscribe button. And I will see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Peace.